Welcome back to the Genius Maltby channel for a conversation on news, the economy, and taking a look at things from a different angle. Hope you guys are strapped in today with a nice hot cup of coffee or something to drink and prepare to spit it out in anger as we go through one story. That's what today's entire program is going to be regarding. And it's going to be really important, so I hope you guys can stick with me on this, join the conversation, and pass this information along. Because this is a critical sign and symptom of a sick economy, a sick society. And what we're going to be discussing here is just one more sign that things are not as rosy as they seem, and that there are calamitous things around the corner, and the economy is careening towards a precipice right now. And we have madmen at the controls. So let's just get right to it. All right, let's just get right to it. Why central banks should embrace negative interest rates and get rid of money. Well, what is negative interest rates? That's when you put money in the bank and you pay to keep it there. You give them money on top of the money you've put there that they can loan out, because your money's not valuable anymore. They get money for free, so they really don't need your money, and you're just paying them to hold your money and keep it safe, and for all the handling fees and all the hassles that they have to go through to work. Just like with negative treasuries. Back when the economy was suffering in the financial calamity, people were buying treasuries at slightly negative rates and basically losing money to give the government money and hold treasuries. Imagine that. Imagine buying $100,000 in treasuries and losing money just because you had to park your wealth there, out of fear of losing it in other areas. So here it is all over the news. There's headlines everywhere regarding this individual that works for Citibank. Now, this is just a city economist right now, but there are a lot of people in this camp. Just because there's only one individual that you see in the headlines speaking about it and writing about it, this is a true symptom, because like any idea, it can be born with one person and then spread to others. This is most likely coming out of some kind of economic think tank. This is right out of the Keynesian playbook. The statists, the totalitarians, the people that believe you don't own anything. And remember the video we made recently on "You're Just a Peasant"? Because that's, again, that theme carries throughout all of this. We're just peons. We're just peasants. And you don't own anything. All of your wealth, all of your coin, everything belongs to the realm of the king or the elite, the ruling powers. Your labor, your wealth, all of it, your family, your child belongs to the state, to be taken and sent to war if they so choose. I mean, the theme goes much further than just this, but we're going to talk about mainly this today. So again, let's get back to the idea of ideas. You know, Marxism, communism, Nazism, all the isms and schisms, all of these things. Anytime you have an ism, it can get pretty dangerous, but especially if it's a fundamentalist group that is behind the ism. Now, all of those ideas started out with some kind of utopia in mind, a better world. And once those ideas came to be and become practiced, flaws began to manifest. Because of the flaws of man, there were things that were abused, and millions of people died. Ideas have killed millions times billions more people than firearms. Ideas are the most dangerous thing in the world. We all can agree on that. So, here's an idea that's being born in our time. An idea that we need to abolish cash. Now, what's his reasons for that? Well, because the economy is so sick and so destroyed and on the verge of absolute collapse, and even these people are admitting it, or they would not be trying to invent fire stops and firewalls and safeguards to protect us from the coming and impending economic collapse. Obviously, they agree there's something terribly wrong with the economy. Otherwise, they wouldn't be trying to be one step ahead of it and invent these, little false safeguards. So the economy's sick. Even the opposite side of us believes that. And this is their solution. Let's just read it and then talk about it. All right. During the heart of the Great Recession in 2009, a traditional policy rule used as an informal guide by the Federal Reserve suggested that interest rates should be set below -5%. But economists had long said that interest rates couldn't go below zero. To get around this zero lower bound, then Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke bought billions of dollars of securities and expanded the Fed's balance sheet to spur low rates and risk-taking in a policy known as quantitative easing. The move set off a fierce political firestorm that hasn't subsided, even though Bernanke's steps have been followed by other major central banks, including the European Central Bank. With this background, economists have pondered what should be done to get ready for the next inevitable recession. Remember that. Inevitable. They're telling you it's inevitable. And the chances that economic conditions may call for rates to go below zero in the future. Willem Buiter, a global chief economist at Citi, is arguing in a new research note that central banks should be prepared to set negative rates. What is the obstacle? A key reason that central banks can't set rates as low as they would like is cash. The theory is that savers would take all of their money out of banks rather than be charged a negative rate. What to do? Well, one idea is to get rid of cash and move to digital payments. So I am skipping parts of the article, just so you know. I'm getting to the meat and potatoes of it. So we're hitting the good paragraphs. If you guys want to go find this and read the whole thing, please do so. Not to Buiter, who is deadly earnest. He said that there are only 3 constituencies left for cash. The elderly and the poor depend on cash and can be helped, he said. Criminals also depend on cash because it is anonymous. The third complaints will come from libertarians who should, quote, take one for the team, he said. What about savers? Buiter said there will be howls of horror from savers, but said discouraging savings is exactly what significantly negative interest rates are designed to achieve, as it would increase investment and eliminate demand deficiency. So, the internet erupted, and you'll find lots of good commentary. One of the best places to go, and I've brought this page up before, this website, LouRockwell.com. Great place to read about the topics that we converse on here. So here's a headline from them on their site: top bankster, again, economist, issues report advising to abolish cash. Lou Rockwell included in their statements on the article a nice little M2 money stock chart showing us the supply of money in billions of dollars that's just constantly being printed and issued. Alright, so let's talk about it, guys. Let's talk about this a little bit. So you're not allowed to save money anymore. By you saving money and not spending it in the economy, or not giving it to them and investing it in the Wall Street casino, you're hurting their empire and their goals and ambitions. So as I've told you before, and as we've talked about on this channel, again, getting back to the theme, you are corralled like cattle, like sheep, like livestock. You're being corralled, whipped, and steered into directions. Now, a lot of times it's real subtle. They don't, and we, the peasant, we don't know that we're being pushed in a particular direction. These types of policies are more blatant, in your face. It's pretty obvious. We're not listening and heeding their advice. We're not investing enough money in their Wall Street gambling casino to their liking. So what are they going to do? They'll force you to. They'll say, well, guess what? We're going to do negative interest rates. We're going to ban cash, so you can't take physical possession of your fiat monopoly paper money anymore, because even that, they can't even inflate it fast enough. So they're just going to take it from you, and then you won't be able to, all your transactions will be digital. So what also will that do? Well, it'll eliminate all privacy, because now that it's all digital, they can force you to show receipts. They'll have access to your purchases and the buying of precious metals to further protect yourself from these totalitarian policies and these statist ideas well, it'll just become almost impossible. And what this is going to ultimately create, and what it should ultimately create, and what you and I as a community need to create immediately, is we need to begin to lay the foundations for an absolute black market economy. Off the grid, out of mind, out of sight. Barter, trade, personal interactions. Eliminate the internet, eliminate everything that can be tracked or traced. Oh, what does that make us? It makes us terrorists and criminals because we're not playing by their rules. As soon as you start to, challenge the state, what do you get labeled as? You get labeled as a terrorist, even though you might not be hurting anybody. Because they can't see what you're doing, they automatically assume that you're guilty of something, and therefore you are accused of committing acts of terror. Remember back in the 1930s, again, we got to look at history here. Great Depression, what'd they do? They banned gold, they passed the Trading with the Enemy Act, and if you started buying goods or services and transacting with your friends and neighbors, utilizing gold and silver rather than the Federal Reserve notes, well, you were labeled an enemy, or you were trading with the enemy, you were a terrorist, you're an evildoer. I mean, there's just way too much that stems from this article to talk about, to be able to wrap up in one of these videos. There's just thousands of years of history here, and ideas and philosophies, and a battle, basically a battle of good and evil, right and wrong. And you got to pick sides. This is one of those things where you got to pick sides on it. This is a bad idea. These are evil acts that are about to be perpetrated on society. Some of you might be blowing this off and saying, oh, it's never going to happen, it can't happen, it won't happen. Well, the idea has been floated. It's out there. There it is, right in front of you, plain as day. It's in the news. It's been written down. And it just spreads from there. Pretty soon you get a couple of stupid politicians to grasp onto it. It's a good idea. We need to do that. Pretty soon it'll start happening. There's countries that are already taking actions similar to this. And again, just remember, in summary, let's summarize this and wrap it up. We don't have time to talk about this all day, and I know you guys got other things to do than spend precious moments here on the Junius Maltby channel. But I want you all to take a look at this article, talk about it with friends, family, email it around, talk about the consequences of this type of statist behavior, and try to think about what it represents, what it's going to do, and take a moment to think about how these laws would affect your life, and what would you do, and how would it change your plans? What actions would you take as an individual, as someone who believes in principles and liberty? What actions would you take to either resist or not comply with statist policies such as these? What do we do as a society, as a world, as a population? How do you resist this type of action? Because it's a matter of time before, for the greater good, policies such as this that will absolutely affect you are initiated in a neighborhood near you, a city near you, a county or a state or a country or province near you. So for all of you out there in the UK, Australia, Canada, Malaysia, the Philippines, Africa, all our viewers from all over the world, let us know what you're thinking. How's your country looking when it comes to this type of stuff, these statist policies? Maybe we all need to move somewhere, find a nice location somewhere on the planet where only people that are like-minded like us can all move to, and promote freedom and liberty at some point. Alrighty, thanks for being part of the Junius Maltby channel. Hope you guys can contribute to today's conversation and enjoy this news article. Thanks for being here.